Yes, come in. Have a seat here, young man. All right, let me ask you a simple question. Why do you want to become a doctor?
Oh man, I can't believe he threw me a curveball like that. Well, ever since I was little, I wanted to become the best medical ninjutsu expert in the world and help everyone in the village. I've been training my whole life up to this point, getting smarter and stronger so eventually I can protect the sick and those in need. Yeah, that's my nindo, my ninja way. Yo, what is up, my Nakama? So my name is Daniel and I'm a first year medical student, and I hope you enjoyed that short little intro I made. It was kind of funny. I had some fun making it. But anyways, I wanted to give you guys 3 tips for how to have a successful medical school interview. Because I think medical school interviews are on the roll right now, especially during December and January. I think a lot of offers are being made. So I kind of wanted to make a video for people who might be a little stressed or might not know how to approach a medical school interview. So these are 3 tips that I found useful for my own interviews that I think could really help. So beginning with number 1, and it's really obvious, and I know you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but I think I should just reiterate it so you can hear it once more, and that's that you should be yourself. Because I think if you come in to the medical school interview and you have some sort of facade or some sort of persona that's not really you, the interviewer is going to really know, because they've interviewed thousands of people and they have a pretty keen eye on what's kind of fake and what's real, and if someone's being genuine or not. So if you go into an interview and you're not yourself, or you're even scared to be yourself, then the interviewer's gonna know. So, just be yourself, relax, and just tell the interviewer why you wanna be there, why you wanna go to medical school. Everyone has their separate reasons, and yours is unique, so don't be afraid to share that. Now, the second piece of advice that I can give is, I would say, to discuss things that weren't necessarily mentioned in your application. So obviously you were selected to have an interview for a reason. You meet their qualifications and they enjoyed what they read about you on paper. But now they want to get to know you as a person. And if you kind of just reiterate what you said on your essays and what you wrote in your application, then it's not going to be that unique. And I think your interview might be a little dull. So for example, something that I never wrote in my interviews was that I like to do a lot of videography and photography work. And actually, during one of my medical school interviews, that kind of topic came along with one of the MMI interviews that I had. And because of that, I was really passionate about it because, I love photography and videography. So I was able to kind of mold that passion into my interview discussion. And I think it turned out really great because it was something I love to do. And I just love talking about it. So that worked out really well. So, if there's something about you that you didn't mention in your essays or your Common App and you would like to bring up to the interviewers, then certainly do that, because, that's what's going to make you unique. Because, if you just talk about like, oh, I studied really hard for the MCAT and got a high score, like, who cares? You were already selected to have an interview because your GPA and your MCAT scores were pretty good. So at this point, you need to kind of show who you are as a person rather than, how good you are at getting grades and a 4.0 GPA. Okay, now my third and final tip is this, and it's a secret, and that is that you're gonna fail. So, okay, what I mean by this is, for example, I had a lot of interviews that were in the MMI or multiple mini interview format. And basically the way that works is you have 8 sort of mini interviews all in a row with 8 different people, and they each last about 8 to 10 minutes, I would say. And during the first 2 of those MMIs, I was a wreck. I was so nervous. You work so hard up to this point in your life, and if you fail, then it's like, what was everything? What was the point of everything? And I kind of did fail. During my first 2 interviews, I feel like I was so nervous, like I couldn't even form coherent sentences. But after the first 2 MMIs, and I was lucky to have an MMI type interview, I think it's the best type of medical school interview. But with the MMIs, after the first 2, I just kind of composed myself. I relaxed and I kind of thought to myself, they selected for me to be here, for me to interview, so I got to display my best effort. And you know, the next 6 MMIs, I think they were amazing. I was just completely myself. I was super comfortable in my own skin, and I pretty much just like had a conversation with my interviewers. You know, it wasn't really like one-sided. It was kind of just a normal conversation, and I think because of that, because I was myself, I think they really enjoyed my interview, which is eventually what got me into medical school. But you know, that of course doesn't apply to a one-on-one interview if you're just rolling with the same interview. So in that chance, you know, best of luck. No, I'm kidding. But usually, you know, the first 10 minutes are, they try and calm you down, you know, you're really nervous, but once the conversation starts flowing, usually kind of people start to feel comfortable and can answer questions clearly and share why they want to become a doctor. But yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed these short little tips. I know when I was interviewing, I was super nervous and scared, and there wasn't really much help on how to do well in medical school interviews, because, you know, it's kind of hard to practice for, especially if you have a limited amount of interviews. It's kind of like, you know, what do you have to work with? But I would definitely recommend, if you have someone to practice with, maybe try and do an interview with them, or even if you know a physician, that's kind of the best thing, because usually it's other physicians who are interviewing you. You know, but at the end of the day, just stay calm, relax, drink some coffee in the morning, and you'll be great. And as always, Dattebayo.